I am taking the Master of Architecture course, and then I'm here to make a presentation on my thesis proposal. The title of my thesis is the use of passive cooling strategies to improve the thermal comfort of contemporary buildings in Abuja, Nigeria. So these would be the content of the presentation. So the introduction. Thermal comfort continues to be an important criteria to all building users. In the past, this was achieved by designing buildings to acclimatize to the climatic conditions of their location, while also using the available natural resources. However, there has been a change, and then there has been a shift due to development and other things. So in recent years, contemporary buildings show that there has been a great inclination towards the aesthetics and innovative method of construction and functionality. And then in this case, we can see that in our respective buildings, where there has been a great use of technology in the construction and functioning of all buildings. And then this was made possible with the advent of oil, gas, and electricity, as now needs are being met with mechanical aids. However, in recent years and in the present years, the energy crisis caused by high energy costs and its demand, while having depleted natural resources, the unending need for comfortable environments and an inclination towards sustainable architecture has made us to reconsider the strategies used in buildings, and then this has led to a rebirth of the use of passive design strategies in buildings. So this is a picture that just depicts how the evolution of construction and even just the life of humans in general. So in the past, we were using methods, and then we were using methods that were sustainable, and we were using things that were available. However, we have moved to an era where we are relying on energy to achieve comfort and other things in buildings. And then you can see the change. So in most developing countries, particularly those in the tropical regions like Nigeria, there is an energy consumption issue. And then this is basically due to the high temperature that we can see. So this leads to thermal discomfort in most residents. So however, for a country where just above 50% of its residents have access to electricity, it doesn't make sense for them to rely on mechanical means to actually achieve thermal comfort. So this is the main problem of the research, and this is why I'm trying to solve the issue by using alternative methods. And then there are some gaps based on the existing literature. There are some gaps, and then I have found out that most of the research did not consider the drivers and barriers of this strategy. And then for any practice to function, you have to know what promotes it and then what causes drawbacks to it. So this is what I'm trying to emphasize on, and then also the methods. So the main aim of the research is to understand the practice of using passive cooling strategies to improve the thermal comfort of contemporary buildings in Abuja in particular. So to achieve this aim, I'm going to have to follow some certain objectives. The first one is to identify the passive cooling strategies used in contemporary buildings, to ascertain the level of comfort in these selected studies, to evaluate the appropriateness and effectiveness of these strategies, and then lastly, to identify the barriers and drivers of this practice in general. And then I'm going to have to answer these research questions to know that I have achieved the main aim of the research. So the first one is, what are the passive cooling strategies? What is the level of thermal comfort? What is the level of appropriateness and effectiveness? And then what are the barriers? So the whole research is going to be based on a mixed method of both qualitative and quantitative. The quantitative is going to be based on the questionnaires, while the qualitative is going to be in form of field study observations. And yes, so the source of the primary data is going to be from this selected case study, and then the literature review, which is necessary. So it's not going to be limited to, but then it's going to be mainly from the articles, mainly the existing literature. So this is just a summary of the methodology, showing the type of data I'm expecting, the data collection technique, and then the data evaluation technique. So the data collection is going to be based on observation, questionnaires, and then CAD simulation. The evaluation is going to be based on a statistical approach for the data gotten from the quantitative aspect of the research, and then an analytic approach for those gotten from the qualitative. So the type of data, the level of comfort, the passive cooling strategies, and then the drivers of variance, as I said earlier. So my research is going to be limited to Abuja, which is the capital of Nigeria. So being the capital, there is a high level of urbanization which continues to be on the rise, and this is supported by the rising GDP, plummeting household needs and other buildings, and then, as usual, the population growth. So, in particular, I'm going to try to emphasize on real estate buildings because this is a sector that is being prone to neglect other aspects of comfort because they concentrate more on the profit and other stuff. So I feel this is a place where there is going to be the use of passive cooling strategies would be of great impact. And so these are my focus studies. So I tried to choose just a particular real estate firm because I didn't want to choose buildings at random because I won't be able to come to a conclusion. But then, however, if I pick just a particular firm, I'll be able to come to a conclusion at the end of the day, and then I feel there's going to be more potential of having a real life effect. Because if I just choose random buildings, there's a high chance there's not going to be a real life effect. So my literature review, the definition of passive cooling. Passive cooling is the use of free renewable sources of energy such as the sun and wind to provide cooling and ventilation to a building or a household. So according to existing literature, some of these passive cooling strategies could include natural ventilation, nocturnal ventilative cooling, evaporative cooling, radiant cooling, and earth cooling. So from the studies, the strategies might be ineffective. A particular study came to a conclusion that these strategies might be ineffective in countries like Nigeria, moreover, because of technicality, non-availability of required resources, lack of manpower and experts. So basically, this is just some of the barriers based on a particular research. So, according to another research, the strategies adopted could include the design strategies could include orientation, spacing of buildings, courtyards, landscape, and others. However, based on this research, the researcher came to the conclusion that most of the strategies used might not be appropriate for the particular climate. So this shows that even though these strategies are implemented, they are not being implemented the right way. So there's still a long way to go, and then this is one of the barriers that need to be sorted out if these strategies are going to be used. So what is thermal comfort? Thermal comfort is the condition of the mind which expresses satisfaction with the thermal environment in general. So it is just basically a condition whereby a person doesn't feel too hot or too cold. So it is mainly not expressed in degrees because a lot of factors are being considered. However, in temperate climates, the agreed range is between 19 to 21 degrees Celsius. However, most of the existing literature and standards mostly concentrate or they mostly consider temperate climates, which is something that has been complained about or something that has been changed. So, but for the tropical climates, it usually ranges between 26 to 27 degrees, thereabouts. However, most buildings in Nigeria usually have a temperature above the neutral temperature, which is 26 to 27 degrees. So to achieve thermal comfort, it is an intersection of these factors. We have the occupant others. So it is a combination of a lot of factors. So to achieve thermal comfort, there needs to be a balance between all these factors. So conclusion, after discussing the whole concept of passive cooling design in buildings and how they have the potential of not only improving the thermal comfort of buildings, but also contributing to less energy consumption in buildings and a more sustainable built environment in general, it is necessary to explore these potentials at a macro level. As it was said by the president of NIBA, we define quality in architecture as that which elicits human well-being. So this